Hi, you're watching Mike D, and this is DIY Reptile Guy coming at you live. So, this is a vivarium that I'm setting up right now. Now I know if you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys are really able to see like the whole thing on how it all got put together. I'm sorry that I haven't been making videos. I've been so busy, caught up with work and everything, and I probably should have showed you guys the whole process on how this was made. So this is an interesting, unique form of making 3D backgrounds DIY yourself. I'll probably do a future video on how to make it in a smaller version of this. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to make a paludarium for my Goonie Sapphire Indian Ornamental or not. But anyways, this is for eyelash vipers. I've been wanting to work with eyelash vipers for forever now. I have acquired a trio of young babies, and this is what they'll be going into once this is all planted out and everything, and it's fully established after 6 months from now. So the whole thing about this is the background itself was made out of pond foam. You can see kind of little bits of the pond foam kind of coming through, and this is that black stuff. Now I wanted to not necessarily take away all that stuff. A lot of people, when you see them making the 3D backgrounds, they want to take away from that. And I'll show you why here after I get done fully planting out this enclosure. I'm waiting on a bunch of plants to come to me in the mail because they're so rare that you can't typically actually buy these plants. A lot of air plants, a lot of different bromeliads will be added in here. The pothos, now the pothos I wanted to do a pothos wall on each one of these. I think they add some nice foliage and good coloration. And we'll also do some air plants too. Now this wall is actually tree fern fiber panels. You can buy these. The only place I've found them for sale at that I could buy them at was Amazon. They are a bit expensive. Each one of these panels are $50 a piece. But they're 12 by 12 panel, and basically they're woven tree fern fibers, and they create this nice thick mat, which is great for pothos and other terrestrial plants to really dig into. Now you'll notice that I stapled as well as super glued the pothos in, and the reason why we stapled them in is in order to adhere them into here while their root structure was fully developing into here. And this will take a few months, and then we'll pull out the staples. The reason why I use super glue is because super glue is a great method in order to well, not really to try, but it works out great in order to repair damaged areas of plants so they don't actually get rotting. Plants have a tendency to rot if they get cut, especially a small section like this, and this is very delicate at this small section. This is several different strains, as you can see, that we kind of pieced in here of this particular strain of pothos. I'm not 100% sure on the actual name for this pothos, but anyways, this is another pothos over here, kind of a more greener color. You can see that this is more like a white with some lighter green in there. I wanted some different types of, pothos to kind of break it up a little bit. I did add this bromeliad. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to actually keep this yet or not in here. This is a larger bromeliad. Pretty much it's about as big as it's going to get. It's not going to get too much terribly bigger than this. But I did make these other planting holes in my waterfall structure right here and over here. So I don't know, it kind of takes away from both of those, especially this one right here. So I'm not 100% sure. I did add some moss in here, and how I was able to adhere this is, again, super glue. Super glue is a great method for your terrestrial species of stuff. You can use it great to adhere mosses, air plants, bromeliads. Like I said, it works out good against damaged areas of plants. And anyway, so I added, there's a planting pot right here, there's another one here, and another one here. Those I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with yet. The background itself, though, again, going back to that, this was pond foamed, siliconed over top of that, and concrete on different areas to kind of make it look like there's rocks coming through. And you'll really be able to see the idea come to life really good afterwards. You see me plan everything out and everything. If I was to do this differently though, I think I would do a concrete over the whole thing, and then I'd do an S20 silicone in different spots. It's a paint-on silicone. Typically, it's used in roofing applications, but I think it would work great to adhere the substrate. I don't really think that necessarily 100% silicone works out the greatest to adhere eco-earth to the background of stuff. I did spray everything down with POF, otherwise known as methylamine fluoride. Now, if you guys are not familiar with that, afterwards it's cured. It's 100% harmless to plants and animals, but it's typically used in concrete applications for industrial use to waterproof concrete. As well as also there's some other chemical manufacturing things that use it. It's very hard to get a hold of unless you do have a chemical license. I do have a chemical license due to the job that I work in. But with that said, though, unfortunately, people have found ways to make bombs with it, and obviously there is pseudoephedrine in it, so people do make methamphetamine out of it and different terrible things out of it. And that's why it's kind of hard to get a hold of unless you do have a chemical application license like I do. Now, the sides here, I went ahead and I just a silicone bead right along the sides. And that's just to kind of help this out. You can kind of see as I haven't painted any of this yet. I just did kind of just all over the place with silicone back here to adhere this. Now, before I sprayed the pond foam, I did these sides here with silicone when I was doing these panelings, and that's to help the foam to adhere to the glass, because the glass is not a very porous surface. It's not porous at all. Also the same on this side. And then if you come around to the back here, you'll notice too that we went ahead and I did just kind of a silicone thing all along the whole back to help to adhere everything together. Now right here, this is my plumbing for the waterfall feature that's over here. Now I don't know if you can, I'll try to get down in there. But anyway, so it comes out through that hill right there, and it flows down through a nice waterfall structure, and it comes down into here. This whole thing right here, this whole structure was carved out of, styrofoam, and every piece was pressed and silicone together to create a nice bondature, and then I carved everything out later on with a styrofoam knife. The substructure itself was made out of egg crate right here. This is my false bottom. Now, something really cool that I did, my water area isn't very large. You'll notice that. It's actually, technically speaking, this water area is only 3 gallons. And 3 gallons is not very big for fish, and I really wanted to be able to put some fish in here. So what I did is, you'll notice this little cliff right here. Now, if you look back in there, you'll notice that there's a hole back there. Now you'll say, hey, what did you do that hole for? So anyway, so if we come down here, I don't know if you guys can see very well in there, but all this is all opened up back here. And then right here, somewhere in here, there's a divider. And that divider is screen meshed off to allow me to have an area that's back here. That's where my return comes. So this is basically an overflow valve, and this will be coming down into a sump. I have a 20-gallon sump that all this stuff will be going into. And so anyway, so if you're wondering what kind of wood I went ahead and used, I don't typically use this kind of wood, but I think it's really unique, and I think it's really cool for rainforest applications. It is rather expensive. Like this piece right here is about 70 bucks. Now, this enclosure right now, we're about $2,400 into it. I got another probably $1,500 to go into it, which will put me right around almost a little over $4,000 when I'm set and done with the entire enclosure. So this wood right here is spider wood. And I used a concrete method. If you watch my earlier videos, you'll see the different concrete methods. of taking and adding dye to concrete to get it to turn out different ways instead of using the whole paint method. I like the paint method, but I think it's ridiculous. If you really want your concrete to really look natural, you got to use different colored dyes, and you got to learn how to blend them together to really make something that looks unique to that rock formation. Rocks are not all the same. Usually they're a combination of different compounds and elements to create different things, and that's how they're created in the Earth's crust. If you understand that whole process, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So I just painted on some concrete in different areas, kind of glopped it all together back here. Now, I did this pathos a little bit differently though. This one was actually plugged in there. There was a hole there, and I was going to put a air plant in that hole, but I figured, what the hell, we'll throw that pathos in there and we'll see what happens if I plug it. I've never done a plug system with them. Now, the other thing is I know that bromeliad looks damn good. So this is a torque bark tube. Obviously, they're pretty cheap. They're only like 4 or 5. I don't know. I think I spent maybe $10 on that tube. That was actually an old one I had laying around. Now, the lighting units that I used, they are reef lights. They're T50s. And I don't know how well it's showing up on the camera here, but each one gives off 50,000 lumens, which gives me a total light structure of 100,000 lumens that runs for about 4 cents every hour. So it costs me each one of these to run these as 4 cents an hour. They are a little bit expensive lights. T50s are typically around $250 to $300 a piece. But they're an awesome light. And then my nighttime light is also on the same as that T50. When I contacted the company, I told them I wanted nighttime lights on it as well. So this is what everything looks like at night. I don't know, it's not really coming up very well on the camera. Now I know this isn't in the typical spot where you'll typically see me do this. This is actually a present for my great grandma. She's in her late 80s. Early 90s, and I really wanted to really bring nature to her, and that's what this was all about. This is a larger size Exoterra now that Exoterra makes. It's 36 inches long by 36 inches tall by 18 inches deep. I do have a complaint to Exoterra. I really think that they should do the same as that tank, but I think that they should make it 20 inches deep, and that's for the backgrounds itself. And I think they should make it an extra 2 inches wide. And I really think that that would make the aquarium and enclosure pop a lot more if they were to make a little bit larger size. So anyways, if you have any questions, I hope to upload another future video here in, I don't know, 2 or 3 days of the plants. Once I get all those in, they say December 20th is when they'll be shipping, will be to me by. So hopefully I'll be able to really get out here a video for Christmas and stuff, and you guys will be able to see the plants, everything all planted out. I'd like to do some videos and stuff of the plants, you know, as I'm putting them in and stuff. And if you're not already, go ahead and follow me on Instagram. I'm under DIY Reptile Guy on Instagram. I do not have a Twitter yet up and running. I've been thinking about it. And go ahead and go smash that like button and subscribe to my channel for more awesome content uploaded like this whenever I can, I guess, anymore. And if you're wondering too, this is Christmas tree moss down here. I don't know how well you can see it, but yeah. So anyway, so hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you for watching. This is Mike D, and I'm out.